Hello fellow leggers, you're joining us once again for a theatre review. We are in London at the Old Vic.
Where we are catching a preview of a two-hander with a stellar two hands, ladies and gentlemen. Probably the finest two hands in London, in fact. So stick around to find out all. Oh, we haven't said what it is.
We haven't, what is it?
It's lungs.
It's
right.
lungs.
It's right up there.
Well,
it's
or
lungs.
ungs.
Yeah,
Lungs, I think is all
just
you can just about see.
it. Stick around for all of our thoughts.
Find out how many stars.
Whether it's break a leg or leg it.
I'm quite excited to be back at the Old Vic for two reasons. One, because one of our fellow leggers has said, are we going to see this?
Yes.
So it's always nice when there's a bit of anticipation. And also the loos.
The new loos.
The new loos.
Its refurb has been completed. There are now more toilets than ever at the Old Vic. And by what I'm hearing, lots of gender-neutral toilets as well.
Fantastic.
So that your options
Good stuff.
are open.
Well
everybody.
done. The audience spoke and you listened,
Yep.
and we're going to go and see the results.
Absolutely. And we're here to see Lungs, which is directed by the artistic director here at the Old Vic, Matt Warchus, who director of Matilda, Present Laughter that we saw here recently, and Groundhog Day. Where's Groundhog Day?
Well, come on.
It's not Groundhog Day if it doesn't come back around, is it?
It's got to come back.
It has got
to
come back. He holds both a Tony and an Olivier Award.
Good for him.
What a man. Now, the play is written by Duncan Macmillan, who I fell in love with through People, Place and Things.
Okay.
Fantastic play.
Brilliant writing.
Yep, and it premiered at the Studio Theatre in New York in 2011, having a UK off-West End production in 2013. As mentioned, it's a two-hander that follows a couple named M and W, as they reflect upon what it means to give birth in today's society with questions of carbon footprint and political dilemmas are asked.
Okay.
On the eve of the Brexit vote. We're here where tomorrow Brexit may or may not get through Parliament. Talk about political dilemmas.
Political dilemmas.
And as mentioned, what a cast. Just the two of them. But bloody hell, guys. Matt Smith, former Doctor Who, and star American Psycho the Musical, we saw him in at the Almeida as well. So he can also, he's got a bit of a voice. There's a cast recording.
The Crown as well?
He is starred in 2 seasons of Netflix The Crown alongside the other actress in this. Claire Foy is in this, who played his Queen Elizabeth. He was Prince Philip, and she was Queen Elizabeth.
Okay, so that chemistry should be alive again, right?
And Claire Foy has loads of stage credits, but she's best known for her screen work, where she has a Golden Globe and a Screen Actors Guild Award.
Pretty good.
Great runtime, guys. Just under an hour and a half straight through. Isn't that it? You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be in bed by 10.
So
I think
no
I say that every
interval
time it's
breakdown.
short. No, but stick around to the end to find out all of our thoughts.
And find out how many stars. We've come to the end of a zippy 1.5 hours of Lungs.
Although I've got to say, it went up a little bit late, which means it came down a little bit late, but generally...
But it's very busy.
Yeah.
I've never seen so many people... Well, I have. But I think this show, I think, because of this cast, it's going to sell out.
Yeah, it will
Everyone
sell
is
out.
going to come and see this cast.
And I think once the reviews hit, fellow leggers, it's going to doubly sell out, because, boy...
Sell out beyond selling out.
Is it good? It really is good. It's Duncan Macmillan at his finest, and I'd say what, for Duncan, based on the pieces I know of his, he knows how to write well for women and give
he does.
Give
oh my goodness.
complexity to women, and give sort of these undertones of just levels of emotion which aren't stereotypical in any way, shape or form, and there's a reality about everything he writes. I really love him.
Yes, he writes amazing parts for women. There's 2 roles in this, as we know, a male and a female, but I think the female role is almost the one you want.
Yeah.
I think he writes award-winning parts.
Yeah.
When they're given to the right hands.
Yeah.
So we'll come to that when it's a cast.
Absolutely.
I think it's really well observed. The text is really clipped. I think it's really universal, although it's talking about a very specific subject.
It's talking
which
about
is relationships, specifically children.
The responsibility of bringing
parents.
a child into a world that is already breaking apart at the seams when it comes to carbon footprint, when it comes to the economics of life at the planet, the way that it is in the 21st century. Considering this was 2011, this premiered,
It could be now.
It
could be
nothing's
really,
changed in those 7
Yeah,
years.
like-
it feels more relevant than then.
and it makes
Like the
really,
conversations, I almost feel that Duncan would have been ahead of the crest of the wave on these topics once it premiered in 2011, because it talks about even the irresponsibility of enjoying an avocado. Ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
but I was going to say it's a very heteronormative situation, and yet I think what he's commenting on is universal because it's about relationship dynamics.
Yeah.
The dynamics are, and I was thinking, oh, okay, I can feel that. I've seen
Yeah.
now. I can
Uncomfortable
resonate with that.
awareness of some of those conversations.
Some of those
Like, you could have transposed exactly the conversations
Absolutely.
we've had with one
and
another.
it's snippets of
That.
scene, so it moves very quickly, and it covers years and years in the final section. So suddenly it goes on very much, but it moves so well.
Yeah.
And I think it comments on. Very relevant now. What we've got at the moment, rebellion. What is it? Climate rebellion and Extinction Rebellion. And it touches on that in this, but really subtly. It's not really pushing it. I didn't think.
No.
In terms of the changes to what was going on in the character's world, I imagine the world heating up. They kind of talk about what things used to be. So a really good piece in that regard.
Absolutely.
In terms of the writing.
And in a production which, with such an abstract script, you probably would look at it and go, oh God, how do we get from there to there to there to there? But what the director has done, what Matt Warchus has done, has put that responsibility into the actors' hands and said, make us believe it. And I did believe it in the direction of the situations they're suddenly putting themselves in, without the use of any set, without the use of any lighting cues. You've got to act as if you're in a completely different time, place and moment. And let's not bury the lead here. Claire Foy is an actress of stratospheric ability. Stratospheric.
She's
It's about hysterics
amazing.
at times. Her comedy is amazing.
I've never seen her before. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've seen her, and I was glued to everything she was saying. The piece is hilariously funny.
It really is.
But she
a
isn't
great
playing
comedy.
it for humour.
No.
She is playing it for absolute reality and truth.
Yeah.
Which is what we've always said, and what I always say is the true essence of comedy, when things are funny and when things are dark, and when you feel that, again, in the writing, but she is just playing it for truth. And because it's so real and she's just there, it's hilariously funny to observe.
Yeah. It really is, and yet she's able to spin it on a dime, because from one moment she has to go from really, really funny and over the top and hyper exaggerated.
She's not trying to be funny, just being really exaggerated, really intense.
Completely drawn back and emotional and heartbroken, and the way that she flips between those is an absolute masterclass. If this is eligible for Olivier Awards, she will get a nomination for this. This is my pick. And in fact, break a leg a nomination, Best Actress in a Play, Claire Foy for Lungs.
Absolutely. She's totally deserving of our award. I would say definitely nominated. I could see her walking away with it.
If it's eligible, absolutely.
If it's
a
eligible.
short run here, and who knows what's going to happen next.
Oh!
Let's move on to...
Well, before we do,
sorry.
I just wanted to comment a bit more on the direction, because I thought what's really nice is it's just a blank stage with them. There are no props. They're in a car at certain stages, they're in parts of the house, they're in certain meeting here outside, but they're just where they are, so we have to envisage it. So it's what I love about direction that I've seen quite often of late, where it is just about the relationship of each other, which then heightens the text. And I think going back to what she was doing with the text, she understood the truth and the reality of each line.
Absolutely.
So just that, and that again was really good direction. I felt as if every nuance of the text was understood by cast, which comes from also director.
Yeah.
So,
but let's move on to the other cast member. Let's move on to Matt Smith, and unfortunately, he's on stage with Claire Foy.
now, and this is the thing, Matt Smith is great.
He is great.
He is really
solid, good, believable.
But when you're in the shadow of
God,
someone that good,
I don't envy
with
him.
a part that is written that well
For a woman.
he's great. He's
Yep.
good, and we're not saying he's not, but I just felt as if he was overshadowed.
Yeah.
I think.
Completely overshadowed. There is nothing he could have done on that stage. In fact, I would go so far as to say there's nothing any actor could have done on that stage that would have risen to the heights that Claire Foy takes that character.
but then you need the two.
You do.
She's only good, I guess, against that, so you need the cogs working to make the whole piece.
Yeah.
And they do work fantastically well. I believed in the chemistry,
Yeah.
I believed in the relationship,
Well, I
I
think
believed
they
in
must-
the dilemmas, and there are dilemma moments. There's enough in this in terms of the plot, even though it's just the two of them, that there are moments.
There
and,
are the
oh,
whole
I didn't
audience
see
actually.
that. Yeah,
were
again.
reacting to it. But yeah, they must have chemistry together because they've worked together before, and they must have wanted to work together on this. So I imagine they have a good relationship, and that comes through. The believability and the trust they have of one another really comes through.
Comes through.
Absolutely. Audience on their feet at the end, guys. Full house standing ovation. Just an absolute joy of seeing the audiences react. Seeing two audience members walk out.
Well, it's
Also, I don't know what they were watching.
probably they needed a wee and they didn't
they
have
couldn't come back.
readmittance
Yeah, you can't
because
come
it's
back,
an hour
guys.
and a half
Yeah,
straight
no
through,
readmittance.
and I think that, you know, if you're not prepared for it,
Make
if you've had a
sure
few drinks
empty before,
and you
guys,
don't get a chance to go
empty.
to the really new loos,
Which are lovely and
Which are great.
a little bit jarring when you walk in using urinal and there's ladies waiting for the cubicle, but only for a moment. And then I was like, this is brilliant. I'm really pleased.
I think it's absolutely the way forward.
Yep.
It's how toilets should be, because at home you don't have
Yeah.
allocated toilets,
No.
they're just toilets.
Just a
And the
toilet,
toilets
innit?
are labelled
It's
as loos, there's urinals here and
Cubicles,
cubicles there.
yeah.
And can I say, in terms of the cubicle in what would traditionally be where the urinals are, in the male's toilets, there's also baby changing facilities.
Yeah.
And you never get that normally, so well done,
Yeah,
the Old
we're
Vic,
loving the hashtag new loose.
for joining all of this, and we
More
know other
loose.
venues have done this as well.
Yeah.
So you know, but leading the way, exactly where we should be.
Absolutely.
Oh, but we're here to talk about
we're
shows,
talking
right?
about toilets now. We're not really here for that. But anyway,
Lungs.
let's wrap
Why was
it
it
up.
called lungs?
Because the earth breathes, and you're suffocating the earth by polluting it.
Is that what it is?
I don't know, making this shit
I
up,
was
but it
try-
sounds
I was
convincing,
trying
right?
to figure out why it is. Anyway, you're probably wondering how many stars we are going to give Lungs, which is currently playing here at the Old Vic. But before we do,
Yes.
make
please,
sure you hit subscribe.
Please let us know you're there,
Just
guys.
there.
Give us a thumbs up, give us a thumbs down. Be something, don't be.
This is a very tight
nothing.
shot, so we're going to have to get
it
really
is.
close
Really
for the
close
thumbs.
today for
And
the
we're going to have to
thumbs.
come this way to make sure we get the legs and the stars in.
Lungs, we are going to give
5 stars for this
Full
piece.
House for Claire Foy's performance, if nothing else, will be one of the performances that I think you will never in your lifetime forget.
Absolutely, it's
That's
a performance.
big.
It's, you know, I can understand why she's gone to screen,
Yeah.
because she is such a bloody good actress. Stage isn't enough. She will be sorely missed, and she should come back and do stage work.
Yeah.
But I really like the piece as well. Really well served, really funny, really driven through. Real things to think about.
That's just what I think.
Oh, and that's totally just what I
What do
think.
you think? Are you catching Lungs here at the Old Vic? Did you see it before? Some of you might have seen it in New York.
Oh,
we have
my
people
goodness.
in New York saying so.
What
Hello
was it
to you.
like?
What was it like in those actors' hands? We'd love to know. We're the Breaker Leggers.
We'll catch you again soon.
Bye.